I've got a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and I just want to share with you today my top favorite Too Faced palettes. Now, these aren't all my Too Faced palettes, these are just my top favorite. I'll just start over here. We have the Matte Chocolate Chip palette. I really like this one. I have it more for collection than actually using it because I'm not really a fan of all matte looks. Then I have the White Chocolate Chip palette. I really like how this one feels. The outside packaging just feels so glossy. I love it. And a lot of people giving bad reviews to this palette, so when I bought it I thought, oh, it's not really gonna be good, but I actually like it. Like, most of the colors are pigmented for me, and I love that they put the black in there. So these are two more recent Too Faced palettes, and of course they're part of the chocolate collection, so I had to have them even if I didn't plan on using them as often as my other palettes. Okay, next we have these two came as part of a set from a holiday release a few years ago now. We have the Be Bright palette. And those are the colors. I really like these. Don't really use the face products. Sometimes I use them as eyeshadows, but I don't really use them for the face. And this particular holiday formula in this set's release was part of their, more luxe eyeshadow formula where they're actually pigmented and they're really nice. Next we have the Be Merry palette. This one has the more neutral colors in it, as you can see. I really like that bubbly shade there. I use that as an all-over base shade. And these are also very nice formula. Sometimes Too Faced, they change up their formula and it's just not the same across all of their palette releases. Next we have a few other older Too Faced releases. These have the nice formula. These are the original packaging of the box sets. And they have a different formula in these box packaging than the tin packaging. So that's why I really like keeping my box packaging, because the formula is different. This is one palette that I didn't originally own in my collection, and I wanted it for years. And it took me a long time to hunt it down and find it. I really love that nude beach shade. These are just so nice and pigmented. I really like this one. Just like looking at it too. I mean, look at the design. Look at that lace on there. The gold font. So cool. Next we have one of my original high-end palettes, the Natural at Night palette. Really like this one. Those shades. Love glitter. I love shimmer and glitter eyeshadows. They're so nice. That full moon shade up there, really cool. Definitely glad I was able to pick this one up. I actually got this one the same year it released. So here we have the Romantic Eye box palette. And I love the packaging on this one. Like, just look at those really cool roses. Now, I'm not really a fan of flowers, but just the layout of this palette is so cool. It's got flowers all over it. I just love the colors and, the foliage. It's just so cool. And then inside, of course, you have this really cool layout of colors. Soulmate shade up there. So nice. Really, really cool. And that first dance color is actually a really dark purple, but it may not be showing up on camera. So those are the box palettes. Now I'll move on to these palettes here. These are my favorite out of all the top favorites that you see laid out because of the packaging and the fact that they turned it into a series, so I really like that. This is the original chocolate bar. I actually own the second version of this where it was the thinner packaging but did not have names on it. and I actually rebought this to have the version with the names and gave the one I had to my friend. So this palette doesn't wow me, even though it's like one of my top Too Faced favorites. It's more of the item as a whole. That's why it's my favorite, but just from the shades, it doesn't necessarily like wow me, because obviously it's a neutral palette, and you know, there are tons of neutral palettes out there. But I definitely think this palette would have been more fun if it had a really dark black in it. But that's that one. Next we have the Semi-Sweet. Now this palette, initially I was really disappointed in when I first bought it, but I bought it anyway because I had the first chocolate palette and I was collecting them. Because looking at it, it's like just so many brown shades compared to the first one. But then I learned to appreciate this palette a bit more. Instead of judging the palette by what I wish it could have looked at, I started judging it by the looks it gave me. So if I'm going for a particular look that I know this palette can produce, I do grab for it. I do wish that blue shade there was a bit more pigmented than it is, but I do like that there's that black in there. So there's that one. Now this particular chocolate bar I actually do like better than the first two, only because the color shades in here, at least for my skin tone, give me more of a variety of a look than the first two palettes. So that's why I really like this one. Now, some people don't like the really girly packaging, but I don't mind it. And then last, this was not a chocolate bar, but this is my #1 favorite Too Faced palette ever. And I have a lot of the Too Faced releases. This is my #1 favorite. This palette works on every skin color, skin tone, every single one. Just really love these shades, these nice soft browns over here. Two favorite shades in here is that Luscious and that Tempting shade. I just love this palette. Now this is a perfect neutral palette. And then the other thing about this palette, the version I have is actually from their original spring release. So this Tempting shade in mine is actually a darkened bronze. And I was going to buy a backup of this palette when they re-released it. Except when I swatched that Tempting color, which would have been the #1 color I was rebuying this palette for to have a backup of, it's now green tinged instead of brown bronze tinged, which is really disappointing. So I have not bought a backup of this yet. But that's that one. We love this cool packaging. Now we have my last 3 of my favorites. This is a holiday release. This is another Too Faced palette that took me a while to get my hands on because I was not able to buy it when it first released. But I now own it. It's one of their really large holiday palettes back when the face products were a little more full-sized. Look at those shades. You get so many. They're so pigmented. They are gorgeous. This tinsel shade down there, amazing. Look at that. Look at all those choices. I love these giant mega palettes because before the Natural Love palette came out, these were the biggest Too Faced palettes that came with the most colors, and the formula in these two here are really nice. Now their current holiday lineup, I can't say anything about the pigmentation there. I'll save that for another video, but these two are really nice. So there's this one, another holiday release. Has the face products and the colors. Look at that. Has a few more jewel tones than the previous palette, a few more lighter colors and less overall really dark colors. So I like that. And it has that new blush that just released in there, Papa Don't Peach. Okay, and last but not least, we have the most recently released Natural Love palette. This palette is my second favorite of all time and have a lot of the modern released Too Faced palettes. I have a lot of them, and this is my second favorite of all time. This palette is gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that array of neutral colors. All beautiful, all really pigmented. They are so gorgeous. Now, this palette does include a few shadows from some of their previous neutral palette releases, but some of them are from older palettes you can't even get anymore. So I love that they're all together here. Really, really gorgeous. I could sit and stare at this for an hour. So nice, so gorgeous. So there's that. Just give you one more overview of my top favorite Too Faced palettes here. It's my top favorite. And I do have a few more, so I'll share with you those at a later time.